That's interesting. I've never really taken an interest in politics, and I guess I would have said that I was more conservative than liberal. And to be honest, I kind of thought that Donald Trump was in the Conservative Party, and then I saw that thing on it and said actually said Republican, and I was like, well, what's the difference between a Republican and a conservative? Like, I don't know what these terms are. I've never really been interested in politics, to be honest. I feel like it's just a bunch of guys with suits who don't actually know what they're talking about, trying to pretend that they know what they're talking about. Hence why I don't bother watching it. But yeah, conservative is actually from like conserve, like from the word conserve, which means like protect something that's traditional and something that's, you know, kind of, I guess, of the past. Now, again, there's really bad things in the past. I don't agree with inequality between sexes and stuff, and one might say that that is traditional. It's traditional for women to just do the cooking and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't agree with that, but I do agree that you do need to put the wealthier or the people that can manage, without needing much help. People that can manage businesses and companies. You should give them extra help. Why? Because they are probably smarter and better at doing that. They're better at running at businesses, and so if you help them, they might go on to create more businesses, and more businesses will help more jobs. Okay, you don't want to have too rich people. You want them to be fair with their employees and share out money. But I don't know. I do think that you should help those people rather than try and help the people who, I don't know, just claiming benefits and just want to do nothing. And I also think that, if someone can't afford rent, no one should be on the streets. But at the same time, I think it's really unfair how one person can be in a three-bedroomed house and pay very little money because they're earning very little money, and another person would be in a one-bedroom flat, spending every penny they make on their rent because that's all they can afford. I think there's some really unfair things that can happen if you start, giving people allowances based on their earnings, because their earnings can change. They can lie about their earnings, and I feel like there's just lots of fraud going on. A lot of fraud can go on if you help the people at the bottom. Some people might argue. I think Russell Brand is one of those people who might argue that, the elites are corrupt and they're doing, things to just benefit themselves and stuff like that. But another way, you could look at what he's doing and like, well, aren't you just, um, doing things to benefit yourself? Aren't you just turning people against themselves? He would say that they willingly are trying to divide the nation and create this a really big lower class and an upper class and divide people. And it's just like, well, one, there's loads of them, and so they're not. I'm sure they all have different views on what they think is right and wrong and stuff. But he's dividing people by turning his crowd against the elites or whoever they are. So he's accusing them of being dividing people when really he's the one who's dividing people by trying to turn people against those people, whoever those people are. And yeah, and yeah, liberal according to this means, will respecting other people's opinions or different values, or if people have different opinions, you have to respect. I don't agree with that. Sorry, I don't agree with that. If someone has a different opinion to me, I feel like I would try and listen to it and understand it, and learn from it. But I feel like I've been doing this way too much now, and yeah, like if someone thinks that it's fine to walk around with a tablecloth, it's your choice and you can do what you want. But I don't I don't want to say everyone has. I'm less for liberal. I'm less for this meaning of what liberal means, which is to just kind of accept and respect other people's behaviors that are different from yours. I think it's a good policy to have because a lot of people have wrong policies and don't see things in the way that I see it. Um, you know, um, you could see that, um, there's loads of things that, yeah, I could say, and I don't know if I should say it, but there's loads of different views and stuff, and some people are need to be more respecting to other people's views. Why? Because their own views are not correct and not right. But with me, my own views are that I want to listen to other people's views, but I don't agree with everyone, and I think some people are very wrong. And I feel like because I've got a good view on what is right and wrong, I won't always be right, but at the same time, because I do have a good view on what I don't agree with, I don't agree that it's fine to, that woman who killed 7 babies. I don't think it's fine to hate that woman and say, oh, that woman's terrible, I hate her, but at the same time love a god that is claiming to want to kill half the population. There's a you're having different standards, and I don't think that it's fine to have different values, or say, if I'm sure there's loads of guys that get into relationships where they do inappropriate sexual acts that are not really wanted, or maybe they're drunk and they think the other person, I'm sure this happens a lot, and I don't think it's fine to pick on a celebrity just because he's a celebrity and people are going to care more about it. And it's the same with suing. I'm sure there's loads of people who would have, I don't know, injustices done against them, by not of their own choice, but you would sue someone even though it wasn't actually that person's fault. Maybe that person had responsibility to get someone else to do a proper job, and maybe they've gone and got someone to do a proper job, but they didn't do a proper job, and you might say it's their fault for not checking that the person that they got to do the job did a good job. But at the same time, to miss out the person who did the bad job and sue the person who employed the person who did the bad job, I feel like sometimes that could be just taking a huge amount of blame, and you're just, I feel like you attack the people. If people are suing people, they tend to attack the people that have the most money because they're trying to get the most out of it. Now, if that's how you see it, if that's what you would do, then I feel like it's not about getting justice. It's not about receiving compensation for suffering that you have gone through. I feel like it's more about just trying to get as much as you can and not caring about, and not caring about, is that compensation actually fair? Is it right? Is it justified? And I think a lot of lawyers too might just be out to sue people just to make money for their own selves and not care if the person who wins, so long as they get their cut. I think I could say that this is all wrong, and then a liberal could be like, oh no, you need to respect other people's views. If lawyers want to just charge people £200 an hour, and then take them to do some sort of work, and then the next thing you know, they've done 8 hours when you thought they were only going to do 2 hours, and they're going to charge you. If that's what they want to do, you have to respect. Liberal isn't respecting other people's views, but I feel like there's so many people that have the wrong view and the wrong perspective and the wrong thing, that it's I don't agree with liberal just because I think there's so many people that you shouldn't agree with, and you shouldn't just tolerate, and you shouldn't just accept. So yeah, I'm more of a conservative because um, I feel like um, there are some traditions that I do. I'm more conservative than liberal. I mean, technically, if there's what's that? The one that the Young Turks have. They have progressive. I would more progressive. I prefer progressive, I think, because I think progressive means that times are changing, and whatever was done in the past, it was done at the time for the right reasons. But now that things are changing and times are changing and people are changing and society is changing, that how we view things and how we relate to things. So yeah, if I was to say that I don't know what Republican means. I haven't looked that up. What's the other one? What's Obama? What? I literally know nothing about politics, so I don't know what the words are. Maybe they're just called liberal. I think they're just called liberal. But um, yeah, I don't agree with a lot of things in liberal because there's so many people that have the wrong view, and I can't respect someone that has a completely wrong view or wrong belief in something. But yeah, progressive. If I was to create a political party, I would call it the Progressives, and I would want. I don't know. I could start with Anna. I mean, I don't agree with everything that she says, and I I don't know if I don't think she knows about me. I don't know if she does. I really don't know. Um, I don't think she's one of the angels, as I would call them. But she's she's humanly, and she's relatable, and I think she speaks well. Um, yeah, has my higher self set her up? Probably not, but I did like listening to her a few years ago. I haven't heard much of stuff now, but yeah. Um, I don't know what to say when it comes to politics, because I think if a government is screwing up its people, I feel like it's actually just my higher self sort of doing that because she hates the people. And, I feel like, Beyonce did a lot of songs that were against me and stuff. But I feel like her character role is, the mother of God. And I feel like spiritually, maybe she was meant to do that because it's supposed to show how there are no gods on earth. I am the mother of God, but I don't know. I have made gods in the past. I have done timelines, souls have gone on to become gods, but I know nothing about them any longer. I'm focusing on this planet, and I don't think anyone is like a god here. So because of that, I don't feel like I'm similar to Beyonce, but I feel like I'm not meant to be similar. I feel like a lot of singers did turn against me and made me feel like shit, but I feel like it kind of needed to happen because this anger that I developed helped curse the past and the timeline, and things have happened and they happen for a reason. If the North Korean president wants nothing to do with me, doesn't want to believe in my religion, I feel like there's a reason for that, and I do respect that. But I also respect that it's probably for good and bad reasons. But yeah, I yeah, I just I there's some things that I respect and some things that I don't respect. And I don't if I don't understand something, then it's hard to respect it. But sometimes there's things that I don't see, so I do respect that. But yeah, I don't know what else to say.